Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I'm going to do a tractor video. We're going to talk about some digging options for the small property owner. We're talking somewhere between 3 to 15 acres. If you got more acres than that, you might want to consider something bigger. But if you've got a property, somewhere between 3 and 15 acres, you're probably going to want to have a compact tractor like this Kubota L3800 that I have here. And you're gonna want to have a digging ability, okay? Some ability to dig. Now these tractors are usually sold with a bucket like this. That's just a standard flat bucket. Okay, so that's really not great for digging. Okay, so the option that I chose to get the Stump Bucket. Now, why did I get this compared to the Backhoe? Now, the thing to understand with the Stump Bucket is that they call it a stump bucket, but digging out stumps is probably like at the extreme end of things that you're going to accomplish with this. Like, yes, you can dig out stumps with this, but if you're going to have something like 20 or 30 stumps you're going to be digging out, you're probably going to want to rent a mini excavator. Okay, this is great for like occasional digging. For doing some light digging work. Now, let's step back for a second and consider the things that most people are going to mostly do with their tractor. Okay, they're going to want to cut their grass, all right, or cut their weeds, and over there you can see the brush cutters and the grass cutters. All right, so the tractor's great for cutting grass. You're going to want to plow snow, right? Because if you're in the cold area where you get snow, you're going to want to do some snow plowing. And then for that, you got your flat bucket over there that comes with the tractor, and you're going to want to lift things. All right, so for that we got the forks over here, right? You see the forklifts. So the forks basically cost, I think they cost me something like $550. The grass cutter that you see over there, that's called the finishing mower. I think that costs something close to $1,000. The other one over there, the brush cutter, which is for cutting things that are rough, like thicker bushes. I think that costs something like $600–700. You're gonna need a rake. Occasionally, you're gonna want to rake rocks out and stuff like that. So the average property owner, those are the things that they're gonna be doing most of the time. They're gonna be they're gonna be cutting grass, they're going to be plowing snow, they're gonna be lifting things with their tractor, lifting heavy things, and occasionally they're gonna have to do some digging. Okay, so the backhoe, as a digging option, right? Now the backhoe goes on the back of the tractor over here. Right now, the thing with the backhoe is that it costs, on a tractor this size, it costs close to $10,000. Okay, so like the whole tractor, this tractor as you see it there with the front loader was a $30,000 tractor. So now you're adding another $10,000 to that. So the backhoe is almost like, it would all be like almost 25% of the cost of the tractor. Now this Stump Bucket here, right, which has these nice little teeth here for digging, this only cost, I think it costs about $500. Okay, so I think it was just under $500 with shipping and all. At the most you're going to pay something like $550, I think. So for light digging work, this is a pretty good option. It's also good for like if you gotta like break some break some hard ground. Okay, it's also pretty good. So now you're not going to be able to dig out a basement with this, all right? But here's the thing: if you get a backhoes are terrible for doing a lot of digging work, right? Backhoes are really good because if you think about the way you use a backhoe, you drop your stabilizers, you drop your front loader, right? So you can stabilize your tractor, and the tractor or the backhoe is basically it's immobile, right? So you can dig in one spot, you can dig down whatever 7–10 feet depending on the size of your backhoe. And then if you want to move to a different spot to do some digging, you got to lift up your stabilizers, move the whole tractor. You can't dig on the move, okay, the way you can with an excavator. So for most of the big digging jobs that I want to do or I have done, right, and I have used the backhoe. The backhoe was basically a pain in the ass. So you're paying an extra $9,000 to $10,000 for a backhoe that's going to end up being a pain in the ass to work with, because you can't dig and move, dig and move, dig and move. You have to, every time you want to move to a different spot. First of all, with this type of a tractor, there's a separate seat that goes on the back of the backhoe. So you can't just flip the seat around. You actually have to lift yourself up from this one seat, get yourself into the driving seat here, move the tractor, then get yourself back into the other seat, which is for the backhoe, and work there. So you're going back and forth. So it's a pain in the ass like that. So if you're going to be doing a lot of digging work, renting a mini excavator, is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot more efficient. So those are my thoughts on that. And like I said, this is like I've worked with backhoes, I've worked with excavators. Using mini excavators are way better to work with. The other problem with getting a backhoe attachment for the tractor is that, if you look at the all the stuff over there, you see the arms, right? You see these arms over here, that are connected to these weights right now. That's a counterweight basically. I got about 500 pounds of weights on the back. But all those arms over there, you gotta, all that's gotta come out. So every time you want to attach the backhoe, right, you gotta get way in there, right? A lot of times there's mud and stuff in there. Sometimes it gets a little rusty. You gotta get in there. You gotta get the arms out. You gotta remove all these things. All right, every time you want to get the backhoe attached, right? So you gotta remove the arms, the 3-point arms. You gotta attach a backhoe, which can be a little bit of pain in the ass in and of itself. Then you do your work, which is a pain in the ass, because again, you can't move and dig. You can't be digging on the move. You have to, every time you want to move, you gotta lift up your stabilizing arms. Drive the tractor, go to another spot, plant yourself down, put down your stabilizers. So the point, and then when you're done working, all right, so now, like I said, most of the time you're going to be doing other work. You're going to be cutting grass. You're going to be using that other equipment that I got over there, the plows. So what you're going to do is now you got to take your backhoe off, but it's not just a matter of taking the backhoe off. Now you got to also reattach all this other stuff over here. So it ends up taking you almost an hour to get the backhoe on, get the arms on, just getting the equipment on and off. And then, like I said, most of the time you're not using the backhoe, unless you're a contractor, right? And if you're a contractor, you're going to want the mini excavator. You're not going to want a tractor, because again, it's the ability to dig and move and dig. That's a major benefit with the excavator. The backhoe attachment on the tractor would be kind of ideal to somebody that, like, let's say you're an electrician or something, and you got to basically like dig down, dig whatever, let's say a 5-foot hole at the bottom of a pole or something. And it's just going to be in one spot. Like a lot of times when you see people on the street, when they got to access, let's say an electric line or a water line, they just got to dig, like a 3-by-3 foot hole in one spot. And that's it. They're not moving. They're not digging holes all over the place. In one spot, yeah, that backhoe is pretty convenient for that. But most of the time when I'm working, when I'm trying to dig holes, I'm digging shallow holes in a lot of different places. And that's why it made a lot more sense to me to get the stump bucket, because basically you're driving the tractor and digging, and then you're moving forward. You're able to dig. Now the thing to understand is, unlike a backhoe or an excavator, right? When you're using a backhoe and excavator, basically the machine, while you're digging is motionless mostly, and you're using the hydraulic arm to do the digging. Okay, well, the stump bucket is part of the front loader, so you're actually pushing the tractor forward. And the thing to be careful with, I'm going to cover this in another video, is you got to make sure when you're digging with this, you got to dig at shallow angles, okay? Because if you dump the bucket, right, all the way down, right, and you stretch out your hydraulic cylinders, and then you push forward, you can damage your hydraulic cylinders. So the way the front loader is designed is that all the stress is supposed to go on the arms, right? So you see these thick arms over here? All right, I mean, each side of this probably weighs like some 300 pounds, so basically the way the front loader is designed to work is all the stress is supposed to go on the arm, not the cylinders. The cylinders are only for raising the bucket, all right, raising the bucket, or for curling the bucket or dumping the bucket. It's not for putting the bucket in an extreme dump position and then pushing forward, because then that's going to transfer all of the stress to to the cylinders, and that's gonna damage them. You want to keep the stress on the arms over here, right? On the arms, not the cylinders. Okay. Now this tractor has the quick attach, which is a major convenience because I can switch out you know, the different buckets, you know, or the forks on this very quickly in a matter of, you know, less than 30 seconds. Really, that's a big convenience. The one thing is when you have the quick attach like I do, because you know, basically there's about, whatever, let's say 6 to 8 inches between the pins and the front of the, you know, and this point over here, you know, you lose about 100 pounds of lifting capacity with the quick attach bucket. But here's the thing, these buckets are usually made small enough, right? Because they make them small enough so that you can work well within that capacity. Okay. So there's very few times where I mean, I've never had a situation where I went to lift anything, whether it be rock or gravel or dirt, and I wasn't able to lift it. You know, the only time I had a problem lifting is, let's say, if I use the forklifts and you know, the lifting capacity of this is, you know, max is, let's say, 1,200 pounds, and I tried to lift like 1,500 pounds all the way up. You know, that's the only time I had a lifting problem. So you know, with the tractors, important to understand is that the front loader is basically an attachment to it. It was never designed from the ground up to be a front loader. So a tractor is a very versatile tool that's able to do a lot of things. So instead of having to buy a separate grass cutting machine, you know, a separate snow plowing machine, a separate, you know, digging machine, a separate, you know, instead of having to buy lots of different machines, you buy one machine and you can put a lot of different attachments on it, and you have the ability to do, you know, you have that flexibility. But, you know, keeping in mind that it's never going to be as good as a mini excavator for digging. It's never going to be as good as a dedicated front loader, or it's never going to be as good at lifting as an actual forklift machine. Okay, but for the average property owner, you know, a tractor is a really versatile tool. And you know, as far as your digging needs, because up until the point that I got this stump bucket, you know, I really didn't have a really good way of digging holes. But this is a really good digging tool for my average digging needs, right? And again, I'm not trying to dig 8 foot, I'm not trying to dig out basements with this, you know. In fact, like most of the work that I would normally do with a shovel, I can now really quickly do with the stump bucket, and I can also do some precise work with it, because if you look at the standard bucket that comes with it, right, you can see how it's kind of wide, right? So it's really hard to do precise work. You can't just you can't just drop dirt in an exact spot where you want it. Whereas with the stump bucket, you know, because it comes kind of to a point in the front, right, you can just kind of, I can almost like put dirt in the flower pot if I want to with this thing, right? Because, you know, it's whatever, 12 inches wide in the front. You know, I can get dirt into a pretty fine area with this. And also because it's further out, I'm able to see a little bit better than with the standard bucket, which is a little bit closer. Now, important thing to understand is because the bucket is longer, right, if you try to lift something heavy with the front, like let's say you're trying to lift up a heavy rock or something, you do have a lot less lifting capacity, because the further away you get from your pins, right, there's the pins in the back here, so the further out you go, okay, the more leverage you lose. Okay, so this isn't going to be able to lift as much weight as, let's say, this bucket over here, because you can see how much shorter this is, right? So you're going to have a lot more leverage with this. So I just wanted to share this with you guys. I think that the stump bucket is a really great option if you've got a tractor with a quick attach option on your front loader. You can get on really quickly for whatever, the $500 that they want for it. Yeah, it's a must-have. You know, if you got property, you know, especially if you don't have the backhoe, you don't want to pay the money for a backhoe. You know, again, most of the digging work that you're gonna do, you know, you probably don't need a backhoe, you can probably get it done with this. And any digging work that let's say you can't do with the stump bucket, right? Then you're like, damn, I don't, you know, I really can't do it with the stump bucket. I really wish I had a backhoe attachment. Well, let me tell you something. If you have the backhoe attachment on this for that kind of a job, you're gonna wish you actually had a mini excavator. Okay. So question is, why not get a mini excavator? Well, those things are, you know, those machines are like $70,000-$80,000. They're expensive machines. You know, if you're gonna have an excavator, I mean, basically, you got to make a full-time job out of it. You know, that's gonna be your job, digging, because you gotta, you know, that's not. And it's also a mini excavator is also not a very versatile tool. You can't cut your grass with it. You can't plow snow with it. You know, so it's not as versatile as the tractor. Okay, so I just want to share that information with you guys. This, by the way, this stump bucket here. This one is the hold on, let me try to remember the name. Yeah, I gotta apologize to you guys. I don't remember the name of the stump bucket. I'm gonna have to. I'll put a link or something in the description below. I'll mention that in the description. And by the way, it's got these really cool teeth here. Okay, that's if you are trying to get a stump out. You kind of basically dig the point over there under the roots, and then you pull back, and those teeth kind of cut away at the roots. But like I said at the beginning of the video, trying to get big stumps out of the ground with a stump bucket is like at the extreme end of things that you're gonna do with this, right? Because if you got a lot of stumps to get out, you're probably gonna want, you're gonna want to rent out that mini excavator if you're gonna be getting a lot of them out. If you got like just one or two stumps, yeah, by all means, give it a shot with the stump bucket. If you're able to get around all sides on it, eventually you'll get it out. But that's the thing, you gotta basically just dig around it at a shallow angle, and that's the way you're gonna get the stump out. Because I got to tell you, one time I was trying to get a stump out, and this was a big one. Its roots went down like something like 4 feet, 5 feet. It had long roots that went way down, and I had a mini excavator. I think the thing weighed something like 10,000 pounds. So it was, it was on the small end of things. But the point is that I could only dig from one side, because to the other side there were some other trees. I didn't want to bother those trees, so I could only dig from one side. And it took me something like 30 minutes with a mini excavator trying to get this stump out that had these like long 4 or 5 foot roots that I could only access from one side. So only being able to dig from one side is gonna, definitely make things more difficult. And if you're using a stump bucket like this to try to get a stump out, you gotta be able to access the stump from all sides, so you can dig around it. And quite honestly, the best way, if you gotta get a tree out, the best way is to get rent a big enough excavator that you can lift the arm up and push near the top of the tree, and just push the whole tree over. And then what happens is the roots come up with the tree. That's actually the most efficient way to get a tree out. Okay, just push the tree over with a big enough machine. You're gonna save yourself a bunch of time with that. Okay, so I hope you guys found this video useful. And yeah, definitely, if you got a tractor with a quick attach, like I do over here, yeah, you're definitely gonna want to get a stump bucket. It's gonna become very useful. At one point, when I got the forks, I was like, I'm like, I can find other ways to do things. I don't need the forks. And then I had one job I needed to do that I absolutely needed the forks for. So I went and I bought them. Right, again, they were something like $550. And then, you know what? They become so useful after I got them that I'm so happy I bought them. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was useful. Drop some comments. If you got any of your own feedback, please add it. I'll talk to you guys soon. And if you're not a member, please subscribe.